Hello everyone and welcome back to the Luffy channel. So I'm gonna start priming with the Huda Beauty. This is the one that she launched a little while back ago. Okay, so I put my deodorant off camera. And I'm gonna follow up with this. I just personally have been loving this combo. And then on top of it, I seal it with a good priming primer that I have on file, like right up next to it. So far I'm playing with products that I've had for years. Like, I'm not saying years, but probably like 2 years or maybe two. And products that actually work the best when it comes down to the foundation and their routine that I like. Especially because lately the weather has changed here in California. All of a sudden, it's starting being very cold. And I was very impressed on how fast that changed. Like, I expected it to have a little bit more time to jump into the cold weather. I'm not complaining, but I was like, okay, it might be take a minute, two on here and there. But I have a lot of empties, a lot. And water is essential for your health. Today I'm gonna do, this is the La Base Pro Perfecting Makeup Primer, a smoothing effect. You can use it in specific areas where you feel like either the foundation tends to break or you feel like you need the most help with the foundation long lasting. The foundation I'm gonna be using today is the Lancome Tan Idol on the shade 420. And I personally have found myself loving that foundation a lot. Anytime I use it the way I'm gonna use it today, it always stays on. It's always smooth. This foundation has an SPF of 25, so I enjoy that. However, the deeper shade range of tones don't have that SPF because some of them have a more olive oriented skin tone like me. I'm olive undertone, and I also noticed this is like my perfect duo right now. And what I noticed is that a lot of them, of the new reformulated versions, have like red undertones, or has more different pigments to ensure that it has what it needs for the client and for us as a consumer to have variety. Because a lot of the times, yes, they have shade range, but do they have undertones? To me, that's a little bit difficult to have. So first I use color corrector. I always go with the peach color corrector going on. But I always say, trust the process, trust it. And if you don't feel like something is well blended, spend your time blending. Spend your time blending, spend your time enjoying the product. Ensure that you're like always happy with the result. And don't be too hard on yourself. At the end of the day, if you're starting in the makeup industry, or if you're just trying to do more makeup videos, or you're just trying on makeup in general overall because you were told like me not to wear makeup, I think it's a nice idea to have it and just to have fun with it, play around and see what works best for you. At the end of the day, we only live once, and life is too short to be worrying about what other people have to say about you. And then for the foundation, it's 420W. Love this color. I don't have to mix another one. I don't have to do anything else and just wear this one on top. So I like to build up my foundation. I always start in the middle. I always ensure that I start little by little. You don't have to go in full hands on it, especially because this coverage is like a very full coverage. And if you've never worn makeup, you have to understand that when you're using a full face of makeup or like a full face coverage foundation, it, like the term says, it washes off all of the colors. So you pretty much are on one color only. And so what you need to start doing after you feel like, oh my gosh, this is like too much, or I feel like in a way that this foundation, it's like covering everything, then you start adding all of the products that you need. In the case that I'm saying it, like you gotta do the shadows, you gotta add the blush, you gotta add the bronzer, in order to feel more comfortable, because we're so accustomed to seeing our face with our own beauty and the way that it is. Like me, I have hyperpigmentation, so that's why I do color corrector there. If I have any discoloration or any redness, of course I'm not gonna be comfortable seeing myself like having perfect one color skin, because I'm not used to seeing it. So a lot of the times people do freak out when it comes to that. Like, people think like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But no, you don't have to be afraid. And because I have hair in my face, I like to go in it and I just like to blend, ensuring that I'm covering all the bases, all the points. Because I don't want to be like one color here, one color here, one color here, one color here. I like to make sure it is as even as possible as I can. So this is the foundation again, using now 3 pumps. And then I start blending it and I start adding more. And I start building the coverage. This is called like making a full coverage foundation. It's a full coverage foundation, but it's making it like a full glam. And to be quite frank, this foundation has left me, excuse the terms, shocked, impressed, and gagged, because this foundation, it's longer lasting. It's a very beautiful formula that it doesn't move, especially for my olive skin tone. I feel like I've enjoyed it so much. Like, I don't have to mix 2 colors, or I don't have to mix. I have other foundations that I will wear 2 colors to make it my color, or I have to wear like a certain type of concealer, like a white one or a blue one, to ensure that in the formula of the foundation, when I'm putting it on, I have to add those things on top of the things that I normally do. And today I just want to have a beautiful, like, natural glam makeup with white. Yes, white color corrector or a white concealer or white paint. And I always like to add dimension here. I feel like that works best for me. So I'm just gonna apply it right here, just to see that what I'm doing. And what the white one is gonna do while I let that sit in is pretty much gonna it's gonna get thicker, but it's also gonna ensure that the rest of the product gets mixed in, and it gives me a lighter shade of the color I need. Yes, I grabbed the mini one. I thought I had grabbed the large one, but I grabbed the mini one. It's okay. So this is a cool gray. I've never seen this shade particularly. I'm gonna show you how this looks. It's like a gray. And what I love in my new hair color, which is black, I noticed that this cooler tones create and mimic a shadow on my brows that it looks very defined and very beautifying. I come to terms to myself that I was using a lot of them. Like, I have lots in here, and I have like gels and all that stuff over there. So I was using like the black one from Lancome. I was using this one, which is the 4.5. I was using NYX Cosmetics, Morphe, YSL, Armani, Clinique, you name it, we had it. But lately I've been enjoying a lot of this one. That's because I feel like, and sorry, I have to look into the mirror that I have here, just so that way I can have a better perspective of what I'm doing. And you guys can see what I'm doing in here. But I feel like lately I have come to terms to enjoy myself more when it comes to makeup. And I've been enjoying myself so much. Like, tons. Before, I even remember when I started doing more elaborated makeup, one of the ladies that I met a long time ago, she saw my post and saw me with makeup, and she was like, what are you doing? Like, you know, this goes against religion. And she started making me feel self-conscious about things that I didn't care in the beginning. Like, I respect them, but I didn't care. Like, I was grieving my mom. And for me, doing makeup, it still is a way to express my feelings and my emotions in a healthy way that not a lot of people can conceive. Like, they're like, oh my gosh, you should just cry. Or, you know, people have such a tendency of thinking and making other people feels like, this is what you should be doing because this is what worked for me. No, honey. I think that you should pay more attention to yourself as a person rather than focusing on others. And so I told that to my friend, because I always keep it very real, very demure. Like, okay, if you excuse me, if you don't mind. Like, whenever I'm like, someone comes and I literally gasp. I'm like, or like, because I literally always wonder, like, do people really want to hear me out because they really enjoy my tips, or do they just want to do like, okay, this is what I think Felipe would want to do. But you know, I'm very hard on myself. I sometimes don't say it, but I feel like I like to be hard on myself because, not always, but I like to be hard on myself because I've noticed a huge improvement on being an honest person with myself, an honest opinion on being a nice person to myself. Like, I've noticed that a lot of people are not used to people being nice. And to me, that just mind blowing. Like, there's so much negativity in the world. There's so much envy, jealousy. You call it what it is, we have it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, even sometimes I feel like people, women, men, might think that you're flirting with them. But as long as you have a pure intention and you have pure heart, you're like, you don't have to worry about anything, girl. Like, what is going on, honey? Like, I've never doubted myself for being a nice person, and I always go above and beyond and help anybody that I can. Because I think that I do firmly believe that karma exists, and I do firmly believe that when you do great things in life, life gives it to you back. Now that I've let this marinate, I am going to start applying my concealer with the same brush that I used before. You can start whatever way you want. You can start from the beginning. You can start from the end. At the end of the day, you're going to do the same effect and it's still going to look amazing. In the beginning, like I mentioned before, it's going to look great. Like you're going to be like, what is going on? Now I'm going to continue blending with the regular sponge. And so what I'm ensuring here, yes, it will remove a little bit of the coverage, but I want to make sure that everything looks flawless today, especially because yesterday was my day off and I want to ensure that when I come back, I usually like to do this, like, hi, how are you? Pretty much kind of thing. But in my own terms, I think that this is like looking flawless. And I like to go in the inner corner of my nose because sometimes I feel like I tend to forget this area so much. It's like I want to ensure that this is well blended. You know what I'm saying? Like, want to make sure it's like this corners that sometimes you feel like it cracks. It doesn't because we did the primers. We're like ensuring that the product is sitting well. Now for the other concealer I'm gonna use is this. This is the Magic Touch number 6. Love this shade of Anastasia Beverly Hills. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna apply a little bit. See how like this is a little bit more peachy? I don't know if it translates peachy on the camera, but it's a little bit more peachy. Sometimes I like to mix this one with the Jeffree Star because it works fantastic. I wish Anastasia had a white one so I can try it too. Because her concealers, girl, her concealers are insane. They're like amazing. Like, she does an amazing job. So I let that marinate for a second. I'm going to show you the powders I'm going to be using and I'm going to show you why I do the conjunctions. So first I'm going to use the regular Laura Mercier. This is the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I feel like this is a color corrector rather than just like a translucent loose powder because look at the shade. I don't know if someone has talked about it, but it's like more correcting. And I think that's why it's so popular. Like they have this one that has a little bit of color correction. They have the translucent honey, and then I think they have the translucent deep. I haven't tried the translucent honey, but the translucent regular has worked wonders for me. And then I like to mix it in. I like to make sure that what I do with my face works best for me. So this is the Lancome. This is the Long Time No Shine. This is such an amazing product, and I think that they are working on either reformulating it or they might just take it out of business because anytime I catch a retailer that has it, I always try to get my hands on it. I have a backup of this because I finished the other ones I had just because I feel like this particular product is such a beautiful product that it's just magnificent. So I just love it. I personally love using the Lancome one. I believe this is a new one. I'm just in love with it. Like the quality, it's insane, and I don't think it's talked about it. So that's why I was like, But I'm gonna show you really quickly on the lid. The shade of this, it looks like that, and it's more of a neutral, like translucent powder, in comparison to the Laura Mercier that I have here. I just like swatch it here so you guys can see it. Like, see, such a different, such a different shades. This is the Lancome one. Let me grab a little bit of the Lancome one. And then see how like white and then the other ones has a little yellow. Are like this one. It's like, girl, just give it to me straight. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday, so we ended up going to see our barber. Sorry, I keep going out of my way, but I want to make sure that you guys understand the reasoning why I do what I do, so that way you guys feel comfortable enough to either replicate or create something similar, and let me know on the comments below why are you doing it and what worked best for you as a person. So now that I have my own conjunction in here, I'm just gonna make sure that I can like mix it in between it. Now, again, reminder, I'm only doing this because this is what works best for me for the effects that I like to have on my face. So if you feel like you like this, but you would like to do it more according to your personality, more according to your job, more according to the event, then that's something different. So I let this marinate for a second as I have done it. And what I like to do, I usually use a headband, but today, you guys, I want it to be as realistic as possible. I like to grab this brush. This is called the Real Techniques 402. Love this product. So from the powders that I gather here, I just like to grab it and I like to swirl it just so I can mix all of the products. And I do remove all of the excess like that, like so. Like, see how much product I have? Make sure that you remove all of that. You're just lightly gonna press whatever you have on here. You do not need a lot. And what I do is I just like to press it like this. So you start setting, ensuring that you don't get any lines. So I just like to go like this, because I feel like my eyes are rested and looking up, and I don't feel like, oh my gosh, it's gonna get there. It doesn't get anywhere. I go and do the same thing onto the other eye, and I just lightly press it. Then I go with the powder puff and I just press it lightly, and I start building and setting everything in here. See how different it is? But you're pushing the product that you had from the brush onto this, and then you start setting it up. So don't worry if you start seeing me doing this, and then just don't watch here or watch over here, because that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, the experience this time was a little bit more like go, 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 go. They don't have a public restroom, so from the place where we live, with traffic, sometimes I'm ashamed to say it, but with traffic to their store is like 2 hours almost. So it's always like, oh my god, like we have to make so many steps, and we drink like, this is my third bottle, and I just woke up. Like, I drink a lot of water, guys. I'm diabetic, so the more that I can have hydration and also the meal, the better. Like, to me, that when a store or anybody takes good care of you like that, I'm like, okay, you have me. But yesterday we felt like anytime we go there, we always have to use the restroom. Chef kiss, because they always let us use it, especially because I'm always like, there's like only warehouses here, so there's like not a lot of places close to it. There's only like gas stations like 7-Eleven that don't have a public restroom. In this one from Lancome, oof, delicious. So I'm gonna try this one first. Very pigmented. Never tried his blushes, so I'm a little scared. I saw it yesterday and it looked phenomenal on Domel, and it didn't look as fabulous and as elegant as it did on him, that it did on me, and it was like, okay. But we're gonna try to add a little bit of base here, just a little bit, like that, just a little. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna show you here. Like, see how beautiful that pinky Pepto-Bismol is? Like, gorgeous. This is a cherry blossom, the cherry blossom cake on the Easy Bake, and just gonna grab as much powder as I can. Just removing the excess again. I was like, this is not gonna work for me, but I was like, when I put it on, it looked like almost violet. It's so potent. I cannot wait to see how this is gonna look on Duomel. Oh my gosh, I love how bright this like makes me look. Like, it's like you had 14 hours of sleep, but I actually had only 6. And I go back on the other side, just remove the excess. You can tell that I have the excesses here. And so I like to make sure that the blend, like the powder puff, it's like has the same amount on both ends. And I just go like this. I think for some reason I play a little bit more here, but that's okay. We can go back with more. So I like to grab more, just like so, and I like to go around it, like so. I'm just gonna press it. Like, makeup is so therapeutic. Yes, it does stress you out, especially if you are a perfectionist. You're like, oh my god, this is not gonna get me. But it also, as you dive into it, the makeup, you kind of start enjoying yourself more. You kind of start seeing yourself through a different lens. Like, okay, this is a new personality. This is a new me. Just like Lalisa and Rosalia says, I'm a new woman. I always play the song, and I always have the best time with Domel. Like, I couldn't think of my life without Domel at all. Like, yesterday was an iconic day at the Halloween nights. I don't even know the name of it. I'm sure they have a name for their Halloween nights. This is one of the things that I do not like about this powder, that sometimes the powder is like, hi, how are ya? But yesterday I had so much fun. Everyone in Six Flags always has a beautiful vibe. Like, we were thinking, like, we like to give ourselves some rest between parks. And we were considering, what if we go and give it a second try to, what is the name of it? Knott's Berry Farm. But then we were like, do we really want to do that? We didn't have the best experiences at that place. And so it's always like, oh my God, you know? So I'm always like, should we go back to that or should we not? And we were like, nah, let's just save up money to go to the Disneyland instead. Feel like lately I have focused myself in our lives to be better. We don't longer, we expect the best of the world, but we don't longer lie to ourselves. Like, I grew up in a very low income family where I had four sisters, one with a mental disability, and myself. And when I tell you that my mom used to say, I don't remember my mom saying it, but I remember people around us saying like, oh, money doesn't give you happiness. Girl, if you're sick or ill when you're poor and you can afford your medicine, that makes you happy. Like, my mom was diabetic. She was a cancer survivor. And I have a sister with a disability that needs to have her narcotics or medicine because she has epilepsy. And she also has other, like, illnesses. Like, that was happiness. Anytime we could afford our medicine, that, to me, that's like happiness happening. So anytime someone tells me like, oh, money doesn't give you happiness, I'm like, are we sure though? Like, anytime you can, like, if you don't have money to pay your bills, the electricity bill, and you have the money to pay for it, and once you get the money, does that not make you happy to pay your bill? Like, I guess that the way that it's used is to make people feel like, oh, it's okay. If you can't afford this vacation, you'll wait for the next one, and money doesn't buy you happiness. It's kind of like that. It's almost like as a condescending, toned down way of saying, it should be fine. Just don't take it too personal next time. And it's like, no, sometimes you want to be like that extra. I'm going to grab a blush brush. I'm going to do a Lancome one. Yes, I depotted them all, and I put them in this beautiful palette that's called the Face Pro Palette, or the Pro Palette. You can find them on Instagram. Beautiful company. They are owned by a gay couple, if I'm not mistaken. I know only one person that used to be one of the guys, and Domel and I, we had such a blast with him. He's like amazing and very friendly. But I'm gonna go back to this one. I'm very thankful to have this one because he gave us this one. Oh my gosh, thank you. Love this. Love your products. So this is the Blush Subtil Blush for You. This is the shade 356. So what I like to do is, I just like to add a little bit. I should have done this for a more condensed, but I'm gonna add this one, just like so. And see how it's like adding that pigment extra, but it's like very beautifying. Like, Blush for You, it's such a beautiful blush by Lancome, and I don't think their blushes are talked that much.